So long term, I think Godwill Kukonki could eventually become one of the best centre-backs in the league. And that's because just looking at his profile, he has all the attributes that Ruben Amorim would want in a left-sided centre-back, both in and out of possession. But what exactly is that? Well, if I show you this image of Lisandro Martinez in possession, when United have the ball in the middle third, you'd say that Martinez excels in this area, because of his technical ability and vision, which allows him to thread line-breaking passes into players between both the forward and midfield lines and the midfield and defensive lines of the opposition. However, if I show you this image with Martinez in a back three when United have possession in the final third, squeezed high up to keep the vertical compactness of the possession shape, and overall having the rest defence high up the pitch ready for a counter press, whilst when United have possession, Martinez's playmaking ability will no doubt aid United in working the ball into the box and into chance creating positions. If there is a turnover and the opposition look to counter quickly into Manchester United's left-sided channel, you'd say that depending on the player Martinez is up against, he could have problems defending the space when the attacker is looking to run in behind him or when he's isolated him in a 1v1. For most Premier League attackers, Martinez should be fine defending in these situations, but my concern would be at the elite level. For example, against Liverpool and Mo Salah, Doku or Savinho at City, Son or Kulusevski at Tottenham, or even against Saka and Arsenal. But before I go any further, if you want to check out any of the new season jerseys, go over to Jersey FIFA. They've also got club and international retro jerseys as well. You can use code Atlantis for a discount. A link will be in my Instagram bio, which will be linked in the description. Whilst Martinez is a very good front foot defender, reading the game, stepping out and making an interception or a standing tackle, just like Harry Maguire to some extent, his weakness certainly is when running back towards his own goal, but certainly not to Harry Maguire's level of liability in that situation, it should be said. Now in an ideal world, I think Ruben Amorim would have a left-sided centre-back in the back three, such as Alessandro Bastoni, who I've spoken about multiple times on this channel, who I think is both a fantastic front foot and recovery defender, having the pace, physicality and 1v1 defending ability to operate more effectively when defending in the channel than Martinez, whilst also being a fairly good progressive passer as well, and a much better ball carrier and threat in the final third compared with Martinez. Bastoni would also be an upgrade on Martinez from a physical and athletic point of view, alongside being better aerially and maybe even having better defensive instincts inside of the box, as this has been a weakness for Martinez this season, with there being a few occasions where he switched off when the ball is in the box, allowing the attacker to get goal side of him and then knocking the ball into an empty net, with examples against Brighton and Porto coming to mind. But why exactly am I talking about Bastoni? Well, it's because from a stylistic and aesthetic point of view, I think there are a lot of similarities between Bastoni and Kukonki. Both are dominant physical specimens, with Bastoni being 6'3" and Kukonki at 16 being 2 inches taller than him at 6'5". Both are athletic, quick across the ground, as well as being able to dominate physical battles alongside that. Both have been used at centre-back and at left-back throughout their careers so far, and can utilise their powerful running style through carrying the ball into space, either down the flank or from the defensive to the middle third or the middle to the final third. But before I carry on the analysis, if you want to pick up any of the new season jerseys or any club or international retro jerseys, you can go over to Jersey FIFA. They have a variety of different shirts. You can use code Atlantis at checkout for a discount. I'll leave it linked in my Instagram bio, which I will leave linked in the description and the comment section below. So back to the analysis, and I would argue, obviously, if you scaled up a bit from Kukonki at 16 to maybe him at 18 or 19, Kukonki might actually have a more complete skill set than even Bastoni in certain areas. The one area where Bastoni would be a downgrade in comparison to Martinez would be when it comes to the middle third, specifically their passing, progressing the ball with those line breaking passes into players in between the lines, as Bastoni is a far better ball carrier than Martinez, but definitely is not as good when it comes to being a playmaker from deep. However, Kukonki has already shown that he excels in this regard, as when he receives the ball after it's been circulated to United's left hand side, he's able to take the ball efficiently on his back foot, opening up his body and either punching a high energy pass up the line into either United's left back or left winger. Alternatively, he can shape like he's going to play this pass on the outside of the opposition's midfield before using a disguise technique to close his hips on the ball, playing the pass on the inside of the opposition's wide midfielder, splitting him and the central midfielder on his inside to work the ball into a player between the lines. And this attribute has convinced me that Godwill Kukonki could be Ruben Amorim's Kobbie Mainoo, as like Mainoo, his skill set is already so complete at such a young age, alongside having even greater physicality and athleticism when compared against even first team players like Lisandro Martinez and Harry Maguire, and that's why I think he could be ready for a debut in the Manchester United first team within the next 2 to 3 months. He is still only 16, 17 in February, but we have seen players recently like Lamine Yamal and Pau Kubasi at Barcelona, Ethan Nwaneri at Arsenal and Mikey Moore at Tottenham come into the first team around the 16 to 17 year old age mark and look a lot more developed physically, athletically and even mentally than players their age were 20 to 30 years ago, or even just 10 years ago. And Kukonki is the perfect example of this. I mean, have you ever seen a 16-year-old centre-back with this combination of physicality, height, agility, pace, tackling and passing ability? I mean, it's incredibly rare, and that's why I rate Kukonki so highly, as even if United wanted to loan out Kukonki for the next 18 months say, and still wanted to bring in a left-sided centre-back with a similar profile and attributes, just further along in their development path, apart from Bastoni, I don't think there are any clear and obvious options. Jarrad Branthwaite has been linked with Manchester United, and it's clear to see why. He could play in any of the three positions across the back three, and is also about as physically and athletically dominant as you could want, making him an excellent box defender with his aerial ability, having a knack of being able to block or intercept crosses with his massive frame from short range, being like a magnet to the ball inside of the box, alongside being very good when defending space and in 1v1s in the channel. And this can be seen by the fact that over the past 365 days, when compared against every other centre-back across Europe, Branthwaite ranks in the 94th percentile for the amount of dribblers he has tackled, the 85th for the amount of dribblers he has challenged, the 86th percentile for the percentage of those dribblers he has tackled, recording a very impressive rate of 72.9%, whilst also sitting in the 76th percentile for his interceptions, and between the low to mid 80th percentile range for the amount of aerial duels he has won, as well as the percentage of aerial duels he has won as well. And so from the eye test and the statistical analysis, you can clearly see how good Branthwaite is from a defensive point of view. The concern most people have about him comes in possession, as he doesn't have the sort of disguised technique or vision to be able to play those incisive passes through the centre that we see from both Martinez and Kukonki. Now don't get me wrong, I certainly don't think he's as bad on the ball as people make out, as he is a pretty reliable switcher of play with long passes capable of both feet, whilst also using that lofted curling pass into the channel that we often see Everton use frequently, and could certainly be used with Rasmus Højlund as a centre forward. I also do think that the system he is playing in has impacted his development in possession, as Sean Dyche isn't the type of manager to push for intentional play through the centre, compared to other Premier League managers like Iraola or Fabian Hürzeler, and so just naturally Branthwaite isn't going to develop this part of his game as much, or even look as good as other centre-backs in those systems, but he is still young, just 22, 23 in June, and so under Amorim's coaching he could definitely improve this part of his game, mainly just through playing in a better possession system, offering him better passing options in possession. I don't think he's a Lisandro Martinez replacement, or even an upgrade overall, and so I wouldn't be totally against bringing him in, but if he was brought in it would have to be for a maximum of £40 million, maybe with a few speculative add-ons up to about 50 million, and initially I think he comes in as a replacement for Maguire and Lindelof, almost as a utility centre-back, someone who can come in and comfortably play in any of the three positions in the back three, but also during certain games against certain opposition where Amorim wants to press aggressively, pushing the wide centre-backs high up the pitch in the rest defence, Branthwaite probably would provide a better option at left-sided centre-back, primarily because of his ability to defend space, alongside being a better box defender than Lisandro Martinez as well. However, in most games where United are going to be controlling possession and primarily be focused on breaking down defensive units in the middle third, I think Amorim would then be better off using Lisandro Martinez, because of his ball progression and creativity from deep that he would bring to the back three, which I think is needed with Euro and De Ligt not being as good as Martinez when it comes to their progressive passing. But there are other options as well. 21, soon to be 22-year-old Castello Lacaba at RB Leipzig could be an option, but he is far more of a passive defender than Martinez, preferring to sit off and wait for the attacker to move, rather than being the type of front foot defender who's going to aggression. Whilst defensively I would say that Branthwaite is better, Lacaba in my opinion is levels above in possession, being a high volume ball carrier and dribbler, as well as having the same sort of incisive passing ability that would need to be replaced with Martinez out of the side. The issue is I think he's going to cost around £30 million. And even though in possession he is one of the best young centre-backs around, I do think he needs to improve his overall defensive game in order to warrant that kind of fee, as Bastoni would cost around the same but has a far more complete skill set from a defensive point of view. Piero Hincapié at Bayer Leverkusen would be a better option than either Lukeba or Branthwaite if Amorim wanted a left-sided centre-back who could marry Martinez's high-volume front-foot defending and his passing in possession alongside Lukeba's ball carrying and Branthwaite's ability to defend space and 1v1s in the channel. He reminds me of Marcos Rojo aesthetically, but less rash and significantly better in possession. And for around £30 to £40 million, I think he could be an excellent left-sided defender for Amorim to have in his squad, capable of slotting in effectively as a left-sided centre-back or as a more conservative option as a left wing-back. However, unlike Branthwaite, he would only be able to play in one of the positions in the back three, maybe two if he develops his ability to play in the centre, but definitely not someone who could come in at right-sided centre-back because he is very left-footed. But given that United have Yoro, De Ligt, Mazraoui and Dalot who could all be used as a right-sided centre-back, I don't think that this is such a pressing issue. However, if Amorim is able to integrate Kukonki into the squad over the rest of the season, come the summer we may already have our future Lisandro Martinez upgrade. Now obviously he's a few seasons away from reaching that level, but I think once he gets maybe 10 to 15 senior games under his belt, Kukonki may be able to get significant game time in that left-sided centre-back role in Amorim's starting 11 next season, which over the long term could save Manchester United spending say 40 to 50, even £60 million plus on a left-sided centre-back like Bastoni, with Kukonki already showcasing that he has a lot of similar attributes in his game that just need developing to reach that elite level. And so overall, Kukonki is probably the Manchester United youth prospect at the moment who I am most confident about being able to break into Amorim's Manchester United squad. There are others as well, so I'll make separate videos on those players, so let me know which players I should cover next in the comment section below, and remember to sign up to the Patreon for the in-game analysis Instagram group chat or some of my unreleased tactical videos. I'll leave it linked on the end screen now.